fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, a lot of turn of events happening today.
Slightly. Bit tall up here as well, sorry.
Oh.
That's all right.
Nothing not new.
That's all right. You want me to go and see Conor?
Okay. We'll pause. So, turn of events, a lot going on at the minute. Quickly, because I know that you have a lot of other things you need to do. What is the exact status of it? I know that you filed for a
No, not true.
No?
Not true.
Okay.
That's an option. I mean, look, everyone, there's many things we can do. We can use another commission. We can file an injunction. We can have an exhibition fight. Ultimately, we want to do things in the right way. We have a governing body who we respect, but we need communication, and we're not really getting a lot back from them at the moment. They've known about this as long as we've known about this. This has been going on behind the scenes. The information was shared with all parties. It was analysed by all parties. Most importantly, Team Eubank, to make sure they were happy with the trace amounts, the blood levels, the sample, everything, all the other testing around it. And they were happy to proceed with this bout on the medical advice they took. And we never expected there to be a problem with the fight because of the basis of the British Boxing Board of Control do not acknowledge VADA testing. They have their own agency, which is UCAD. And all of Conor's UCAD tests have been negative. So he's not suspended, there's been no violation, etc., etc. So in that case, if there's no suspension, the fighter is clear to fight.
Right.
But the board have come up with this other thing today that says it's not in the interest of boxing for him to fight. So, okay, well, you kind of need to suspend him otherwise. So is that against Eubank or is that in general? Is that this Saturday? Is that next Saturday? Or there's too much uncertainty, and we don't want to go down the path of, the legal path of finding a solution. And I'm not saying that we should just forget about an adverse finding, but we should let due process take place for someone to carry out that investigation and that hearing. Famously, a couple of years ago, I went through a very similar process where the entire world strung a fighter out to dry, and he was found completely not guilty. And so that process will be undertook. But that process or not, it doesn't affect the board's decision, which is they have not and will not suspend Conor Benn. He's clear to fight. But they're not allowing, in this instance, sanction of the fight this Saturday. And again, that's conversations that need to unfold with them. But we need communication, otherwise we will have to act accordingly.
So according to what you're saying, it seems to differ from what BBC and Sky are reporting, which is the fight is completely off. Is that not the case?
No. At the moment, the board are choosing not to sanction the fight.
The board has the final say?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Courts can have the final say. Other commissions can come in and handle a fight. It's not something we want to do, Michelle, in all honesty. I don't want to but we will do that if we don't get answers. And it's not just a case of, the board ultimately we had a very similar situation with Billy Joe Saunders, you probably remember. He had an adverse finding in his VADA test for Andrade. The Massachusetts Commission that do acknowledge VADA found him guilty and suspended him. The British Boxing Board of Control said, no, you are not suspended, you can fight, because we do not acknowledge VADA. So there's precedence, it's not unusual for that to happen. And the board are acknowledging that. The board are saying, no, we're not suspending Conor Benn.
Which is such a contradiction, right? Because it's like if there was something to be suspended over, then it would sort of justify not having the fight move forward.
Yes,
but it's very confusing.
So almost we would rather you suspend Conor Benn, but you can't. Because you don't acknowledge that testing, and as far as you're concerned, under all of his testing that he's done with UCAD, he's innocent and he's clear to fight. So it's like, okay, so if he can't fight this Saturday, he's all right next week, because if you're not suspended, you can fight. So it's not an easy situation for anyone, including the board. But we need a hearing, we need something to find out what the process.
But how quickly can that happen? Tomorrow's the press conference. Are we moving forward?
Have a hearing tonight. I mean, it's not unusual for that to happen. Okay. Again, this is fairly fresh in terms of what could happen with the fight. We went through this process last week, particularly, and the most important thing was having that process with Calla and Wasserman and Team Eubank. To say, here's, all the information was requested. the levels, the sample, like everything to analyse, and you know, there's no raised testosterone levels. And the doctors were happy that there was no performance enhancing situation,
right.
and the bout would take place.
Well, what was the general reaction from both sides when you did have to break the news?
I mean, look, Conor Benn, he's under.
You know, Conor's just next door right now working out.
Yeah,
as though he's moving forward, as though everything's going ahead.
Yes, and right, look, the fighters, in their mind, the fight's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
They're all in. We are fighting on Saturday, right? And they don't care who it's with or what, you know, they're fighting. And all the undercard fighters, you know, everybody who fights for ultimately as their means to survive are desperate to fight. But we have to go through the right process for it. So, but we need, it can't just be a silence and a hiding mission. Do you know what I mean? It has to be a communication. Otherwise, we will have to make some tough decisions. But yeah, I can't, you know, it's a strange, bearing in mind what's happened during that last week or so, and the board were aware at the same time, it seems like a funny time to move forward with that ruling when they've known about that for some time. And obviously we got to a position where what they were most concerned about was that Team Eubank was aware of the situation, had analysed everything, and were happy to proceed, of which they are.
Interesting. Last question. I know I'm going to get straight to it with anything else happening between Team Fury and Team AJ?
No. That was the first time I've been asked that today. No, absolutely not. I think, you know, George Warren, I agreed with some of what George Warren said, not others. I called him. They had not called me since, I think, Thursday. We were told that the fight was off on Thursday. So
you guys are officially...
No, happy to continue talks, but I just believe this fight's not happening for December. So all in all, good news today.
And AJ's not going to... When would he want to fight? He said December, right?
Yeah, we're still looking at December fight for AJ. Obviously, it's a bit of a blow for him because he was expecting and training for Tyson Fury. So we'll have to see when that date launches.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ed. I appreciate it as always. And hopefully we will be able to have good news tomorrow and move forward.
Incoming.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
Bye, Fight fans. Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button below so that you can receive an alert every time we upload a new video.